see how the top of your target, be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, what you would be, when the operation of the machine becomes so obvious. Things are so sick at heart. If you can't take part, you can't even possibly take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears, upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to win the thing for people.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves upon the gears of the machine. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
You call down the thunder, well, now you've got it.
Revolution Radio. Welcome to Crypt Rick's I've Been Thinking. What's this show all about? Well, it's all in the title. He enjoys interviewing people about issues that he finds interesting, and which cause him to sit back and think. Cryptocurrency, true crime, natural law, the occult. No topic is off limits here. He has always enjoyed when people give their points of view or thoughts on different topics that they have researched. And what makes it all great is that it's their unique take on what is being discussed. For that reason alone, it makes it interesting to him. So take that walk down to his crypt. Make yourself comfortable, and just maybe he will be discussing a topic that you have been thinking about. Here's your host, Crypt Rick.
Welcome, everybody. It is Monday once again. As you know, you already know that, guys. Every Monday I've been here for the last 3 years, same time, same station. What can I say? And I just want to welcome everybody. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend, is having a start to a great week, because it is Monday. And I know the song, like I always tell you guys, we all know the song. I hate Mondays, but I'm not one of those people. I tell you that all the time. I love Mondays. It's a reset for me. It's a start of a new week. And I do honestly, truly look at it as new challenges. I try to challenge myself every day. And believe me, playing a music instrument will do that. I was just telling my guests I'm going to be having on, I got a music headache, actually, because I've been at it for 2 hours trying to break down a song and write it out and figure it out just by listening. Yes, I know I can go online and get the sheet music and it would help drastically, or watch a video of a drummer doing it, but I don't do that, because I'm training my ear and I'm doing a lot of clapping. That's what my drum teachers got me doing. I'm clapping. So tell the drums, just clap. It works. I'm trying to find, as he calls it, the flow and the beat and the pulse of the music. And that is what I've been doing. And it's been helping actually a lot. So sometimes you got to kind of pull back and get off your instrument and maybe bring things right back to basics, which that's what I'm doing. And I'm having a great time and learning. The fact that I've been writing music at this time is incredible, because a year ago I couldn't even read sheet music. If you would have handed me a piece of drum sheet music, I would have looked at you like it was Chinese, and I would have been like, what is it? I couldn't have read anything. And now the fact I'm writing it is amazing. It's such an accomplishment, and I'm so proud of myself. And I have an amazing drum teacher I always tell you about. Please go to Drumming for All Nonprofit on YouTube. My drumming teacher, Carlos, is incredible. And what I love about it is that it is for nonprofit. He gets donations, and all the donations that you guys give him go back into providing lessons to children where he lives that cannot afford them. And he does his best, if donations are doing very, very well, to get them equipment that they can't afford. Because I will say, playing music is not cheap. At least drumming wise, it's not. It seems everything's expensive. So I think anytime you can have somebody that's willing to take their time and their skills and put that back out there and pave it forward and teach people is incredible. And I think you can do that with any skill that you're good at. Why not? Why, if somebody wants to learn, I would teach for free. If somebody wanted to learn drumming and I could teach them the basics, I wouldn't even be paid. I would do it because I love it. And I would want them to learn and teach them. And who knows, they could be the next amazing prodigy of whatever they're learning. And you had a hand in that. You gave them their start. So to me, that is incredible. that's my little rant about drumming, guys, and music. And I just want to let you guys know that I did have Mike on from Sage of Quay. We were breaking down the Beatles music. And as I promised, I will bring him back for part 2. It's already set up. It's going to be June 17th. And I'm going to have him here because we didn't even get a quarter of the way of what we wanted to get through. So that type of interview definitely, and subject, warrants another show. It needs another 2 hours, and I'm hoping we can at least come full circle in those 2 hours and bring the conversation and get all the points in that we want. But we had a great 2 hours. Please go to the archives. It's easy, revolution.radio, up to the archive section, and you can find it. And then please check out the first interview, because it's going to be definitely adding on to what we'll be talking about on the 17th. So please mark it on your calendar. I hope you will be there, because I'm excited already, as you can tell, to talk to Mike. It's incredible. And we're going to be getting into the Beatles, of course. I think he's going to be touching on whether Paul died. I mean, we've all heard that one. And then we're going to be getting into Tavistock and the 300 and all of the social engineering that is going into Hollywood, the music industry. And it's going to be really cool. That's where we tried to bring it last show. And we just got through most of the Beatles stuff after 2 hours. So now we're going to be getting into the whole, like I said, Tavistock and the social engineering that goes behind all the music that we love. And it's an incredible, fascinating topic. And I suggest everybody dives into Tavistock. We've all heard it. I mean, even I'm guilty of this. I heard it, knew a little bit about it, but didn't dive deep enough. I scratched the surface. And so somebody, actually one of you listeners, emailed me and said, you have to really dive into Tavistock if you want to know what's going on with the social engineering right now. And I've been diving into it since then. And wow, I mean, it makes so much sense. If you know what they are, if you study the Tavistock Institute and these, the organization, the 300, we've all heard this, and you really focus in on that, you're going to really get a handle and see what's going on around you. Because trust me when I say, and I keep saying this now, it's my little thing, nothing is left to chance by these social engineers. They cover their bases. They think long game. We're playing checkers. They're playing I don't even know what they're playing. It's even beyond 4D chess. They just think they plan so far ahead. And what is important is they work as a unit, and they put their differences aside, it seems, and they get things done. They work on the same page. And what is the so-called truth movement, the freedom community doing? We're fighting with each other about everything. We can't agree on anything. Everybody wants to argue. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to think their point's more valid. And I don't know, is there a lot of learning going on, or is there just a lot of infighting? I don't know. I mean, I know what I see, and that's what we're going to be talking about today a little bit, because I think this is important. Because I had people say, do you get a lot of views and subscribers on your channels talking about what I talk about? And I usually say, no, not tons, because this is stuff people don't want to hear. I mean, who wants to hear the truth that bluntly? And then in a lot of the cases, the responsibility put squarely where it belongs is back on them. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess you can blow up. I mean, anything can happen, but it's work to even get a few people listening. That's why I appreciate all of you guys that tune in every week, because it's a tough gig, man. It really is. And my guest is going to probably really share this sentiment. It's tough. That people don't want to hear the truth. They want to be distracted by a lot of BS, man. And I see people falling for it all the time. And that's where I was just kind of wrapping up the whole Tavistock thing and the social engineering. People have to really dive into this. I know you've heard it, but you have to study it. And I got tons to do. I'm just really even scratching the surface now. And I just can't say anything but wow, we're in trouble. We are in trouble if we do not get our heads out of our ass and really start working together and figuring this all out. And I'm sorry to say, we're not going to be, a lot of people want to tear down the system. I don't think that's as simply, I'm just being honest, I don't think it can be done at this stage. It's such a monster that we're against. It's truly David and Goliath, in my opinion. But can we work in it? Can we weave our way in and out of it? Of this matrix. What do you want to call it? The matrix? I'm with you. The beast system? I'm with you there. I would say you're correct. But can we break something that's this powerful and this encompassing? Because they're into everything. You pick it, they're in it, they're controlling it. Can we break it? Or do we have to find a way to falls in and out of it? I don't know. I'm asking the question. Maybe we can break it over time. I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime, if I'm being honest, but I still think it can be done. I always say humanity is capable of such incredible things if people would just, if people were left alone. And that's the problem, is that we're really, really being engineered. We're being steered. We're being controlled. We're being entertained. And these are their things. And what is their favorite thing? I always say, fear. Keep the fear going, because when you're in a state of fear, there's no conscious thought happening here. You're not really truly consciously thinking, because you're in a fight or flight reaction mode, right? Makes sense. And they know that. So just anybody listening, I'm sure you're well aware of this. They always got the next fear bullet in the chamber, and it's one after the other, and they just end. When one ends, another one starts right up, and this is what they do. And I see it with the election going on now. People are just buying into it again. And I'm just like, that's the times I wonder. I'm just like, where have we made any progress? I don't know. I'm ranting. I'm on my soapbox. I'm going to get down. Ring bell now. Sorry, it's just one of these days. I'm just having one of these days, guys, where I just think about things. I'm out in my yard, and I'm just like, it's just peaceful. And then I think about what's going on around me, and it just gets frustrating. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. But don't forget, before I get my guest on, Revolution Radio is listener supported. I will always say it is your guys' generosity that keeps us here. You cannot do a show. That's not your thing. You don't want to do a podcast. I get it, but there is a way you can join the fight and make sure that, at least freedom of speech is alive and well here. You can do that by donating. There's many, many ways to donate, and that is a way of getting into the fight. Not everybody has to be in the front line. We need people in all areas. So donations are huge to keep us all here, us posts doing the shows that we love doing for you guys. So please go to revolution.radio. There is a donation tab. Lots of ways to donate. There's cryptocurrency, there's Patreon, there's direct pay, there's snail mail. They got it covered. One of them is going to work for you, I hope. And I always say no donation is too small. Even small ones, they all add up and keep us here doing what we love doing. So thank you guys for everyone who is donating and who is going to donate, because we wouldn't be here without you. It's just the truth. And I like being here. I like freedom of speech. I like being here and being able to talk about what I want and not having to be worried about being censored, because we are on all these other platforms. It's getting awful out there, as you guys all know. I'm preaching to the choir. Am I not? I think so. But anyways, off my soapbox now. I'm going to bring in my guest. I bring her back every couple months at least, because we have great conversations. And this is what we're going to be talking about. As I said, we're going to be talking about the infighting in the freedom community. Are we making progress? The heat that we take from people that don't like the truth in a certain way, it's important. And then how do you operate in this matrix system? How do you weave in and out of it? How do you not fall prey to it, is a good way to put it. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Marja West to the show once again. Her channel is Love, Truth, and Beauty. I'm going to put a link in the chat room, guys. Please go show her some love over there. Subscribe, check out her work. It's great. Marja, how you doing today?
Hi, darling. I'm doing actually very, very well.
That's awesome.
Considering all the nonsense that has been going on, all the infighting that has been going on in the last, it's escalated over the last month, in my opinion.
Okay.
And but I'm doing great. I hosted Sethicus Boza at me and my partner's home, and just such a lovely time to actually meet our beloved colleagues who are part of the network, who are part of One Great Work Network. And so he and his partner, we just enjoyed ourselves getting to know each other, and we are great supporters of one another's work. And also, just witnessing the craziness that's going on with whether it's trolling, whether it's trolling bots, it doesn't matter, because when you're doing this kind of work and you're putting out this kind of content that is, most people say that it's controversial or that it is a conspiracy. These are not conspiracies, my loves, okay? These are actual things. And, I wish they were conspiracies, but they're not. We are in a very dire and delicate situation. And of course, the powers that want to be, and we're talking about the Tavistock Institute. They're doing this stuff on purpose, and their main thing is to socially engineer a divide and conquer on every aspect of life in the matrix. And if you don't believe that we are in a matrix, really not paying attention. Really, really not paying attention. And I think this is where it starts to get, I know for me, very fatiguing. And especially for somebody like me, and also Mark Passio. Mark Passio's been at this for 2 decades. I'm pushing 4 decades. And so you get to be a certain age and you realize, wow, the world is really degenerating into a very, very, very low frequency, low vibrational place. And so those of us who are doing this kind of work I make fun of it now. I call it the troofer communities. And the troofer communities are being trolled by other colleagues. They're being trolled by controlled opposition, being trolled by bots, being trolled by, I would say, there are certain foxes and hen houses, people that act as if they are in support of your work, but are really there to wreak havoc and to cause dissension, to cause drama. And of course, when you have a divide and conquer, our controllers, our little slave masters, the big slave masters, all of the slave masters are getting to feed off of our life force energy. So the more fear that gets generated, the more exhaustion that gets generated, the more rage that gets generated. Any kind of emotional output is food for the demon. So I always tell people, if you get baited, don't fall for it. Do not fall for it. But, it's easy. It's easy to fall for it. And sometimes I know that for me, I take a hit. I get trolled incessantly, which is one of the reasons why I just don't put out videos like I used to. I used to put them out twice a week. I did that for over 3 seasons. And I just decided, what? It's not worth it, because the toll that it takes on my nervous system to fend off, try to defend myself, or to go through all of the comments that get held back, it's prohibitive. It's not sustainable. So, anyways, Rick, I know I'm ranting here.
I love it. No, it needs to be said, and that's why I'm glad we're kind of opening with this, because
Yes.
I've talked to you in the past, and I'm so blessed to be able to be your friend and talk to you. And I know that you take a lot of flack, like you told me, like you're like, it's vicious, like that. The people that come at you,
People are mean. They're just mean, and it's mostly for me. It's mostly women, because I challenge the status quo.
Right.
I see the militant feminine really in charge of a lot of these organizations with their front men. But when you have the gynocracy and the flipping of the script, if you will, of more divide and conquer, and when sex becomes the lowest common denominator, or one of the lowest common denominators, along with money, along with the political system, the criminal justice system. I mean, they call it criminal justice for exactly that. It is protecting criminals. It is not protecting we the people. It's not. And if you think it is, then you're really not paying attention. And I think in particular, I know Mark Passio is taking a lot of hits, just like I am. I get inundated with emails asking me about Mark Passio. And I'm like, dudes, I don't talk to him on a daily basis. We are not in close contact because we're both doing our own work. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him for getting off and going, seemingly going off on a rage tangent. I've been there. I know what it's like. I get criticized for raising my voice, talking down to people, expletives. I'm going to try not to drop any bombs here, but when you've been doing this for a very, very long time and you see the lackadaisical attitude, the laziness, you see the willful ignorance of the shit show that we are in as humanity as a whole, and you see how the powers that want to be have basically infiltrated everything good on this planet. You're gonna take notice, and so many people are so offended by the way Mark delivers, by the way I deliver. He's yelling at us. He's yelling at us. It's like grow up, honestly, because being nice in this situation, in just the flagrant mind control that goes on and on and on and on and on, and you're offended by the delivery rather than being offended by the actual evil that runs your life. How do you answer that one?
Yeah, and I always tell people, like, because I was saying before we went live, I said, like, somebody was listening and they were saying, like, wow, he's really mean and he's really, like, that's so harsh. And I'm like, but what is he saying? Is it true? Yep. Like, who cares how he's saying it, or if you're saying it, not just him, you or anyone else, if they're getting a little nasty about it, which I get at times. I understand, like you said, Mark's been at it for 2 decades. You've been doing it for like 4. I mean, I've been waiting this for like 3 years, and I get frustrated. Yeah. So I can't even imagine like add another 10 years to this. I mean, it's just getting worse. Oh yeah, it's
really is. I mean, there are some days when I am so frustrated. I'm fed up. And Mark mentioned this, where I'm hoping for a comet to come and hit the planet and take us all out because we're just too dumb to live. And I know that sounds really harsh and it sounds really demeaning, but I actually feel that way sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I get really to the point where I just want to throw in the towel and just say, you know what, F this. If you don't care, why should I care? And that is where I realize, oh man, the powers that want to be, when I get to that point, they are winning. Okay. And that is where I have to check myself. I got to check myself about the infighting. I got to check myself about falling for the hate messages, falling for the gossip. Okay. And social media is socially engineered to generate that sort of low-hanging fruit where all the trolls, I call them the trolls, they're the peanut gallery. You have all these people that don't know me, that don't know Mark, don't know Self-sabotage, don't know you, Crypt Rick, don't know anybody, but they're going to jump to conclusions because the peanut gallery such thing, oh, I heard this and this and this about her. I heard this and this and this about him. I heard this about Mark. I heard this about Self-sabotage. I heard this about Marja. It's like, bite me. Just go away. And that's the whole thing, is that part of the social engineering is engineering this sort of low-hanging fruit where people actually get off. They get a dopamine hit on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, on commenting on YouTube, and just saying the most vile things because they are these sort of narcissists in training. I want the attention. I'm going to make it about me, and me, and I'm going to take her down. I'm going to take him down, on and on and on. And it's very unintelligent. I mean, it really is. It is so juvenile and infantile. But this is where we're at, kids. This is where we're at. People have way too much free time, and they want to sit there and they want to put people down. They want to, I've noticed on the Facebook, and here's the thing about Facebook. I use a third-party app to mostly post when I post. I'm very rarely on there, but just recently I was involved in some really stupid intrigue. I mean, it was just dumb. And I cannot believe the peanut gallery the group of furies who had an opinion about shit they knew nothing about, and going on and on and on and on and on and on. And like, I'm not going to know about it, even though I was blocked. You know, folks were sending me screenshots of the BS that was going on. I'm like going, wow, okay. I mean, how old are we? This is
Facebook is
schoolyard baloney.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Facebook is toxic. I always tell people, if I didn't have to, I use it only to connect with people, like people I want to get on the show or a few friends. And that's the only thing. I could never imagine sitting on Facebook or any of these platforms all day just typing.
Really so toxic. And the latest trend of having these trolls, and they're not bots. These are actual people who have made it their life's mission to tear down other people's work, to tear down Mark's work, to tear down my work, to tear down your work, Sethicus's work, Michael Tsarian's work. It's like, who are you people? It's like, stop talking, and why don't you do something instead of sitting on your soapbox and just going on and on and on. It's really disgraceful to me, where I'm just like, wow, this is where it is. It has degenerated into this he said, she said, they said, we said nonsense. And, you know, and then to attack me or attack any of us and then block us, you know, so that you go on a tirade with all your little cronies and all of your little henchmen, your flying monkeys, and you put people down and you gossip about them and you know nothing. You absolutely know nothing. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I won't engage with it.
Roll my eyes.
Yeah, I won't engage with it. Like I've had a few videos where people have said some, not directly so much at me, it's more at my guest. And they'll kind of get really, really nasty, and then I won't engage with it. Because I know that's what they want, right? So it's like and then they go away. It's like, okay, well, because like you said, they don't get that. That's what they want. It's that dopamine hit. They want
to be acknowledged. Yep. They want a response. They want some kind of exchange. I won't go there. I won't go there. You know, as far as hold your breath. Just keep holding your breath, okay? It's just nonsense. But that's the whole thing, is that these trolls, all they want is attention. They want your life force energy. They want to feel significant. Ooh, that you really they really got under your skin and all that. And I know for me, because the trolls are mostly women who really are in that. I'm a woman, I'm a victim consciousness, and ooh, you can't be an empowered woman, because if you're an empowered woman, then you are a patriarchy apologist. And I mean, I've had women actually tell me that, and I just am perplexed. I'm looking at them thinking, wow, you know, she is really serious about this. She really believes this. And so rather than make a very solid point or solid argument, where does it go? First, I'm yelling at them. Then it degenerates into, you know, making fun of how I talk, my English, I mispronounce words. It goes up, and you can see the chat box blow up about, you know, the way I say certain things or mispronunciate words or something. It's making fun of my English. Then it goes into making fun of my appearance. Yep. The bags under my eyes, I should color my hair. I mean, that kind of crap. And then it degenerates into people actually threatening me, wanting to kill me, wanting to hunt me down and beat me up, or, sexually assault me, kill me, that kind of thing. It's like, wow, really? This is where we're going to go. Yeah. And
I didn't even know it got that bad. Wow.
It's really disgusting. And, you know, people think that's cool. I don't think it's very cool. And I will take a screenshot of that and I will report it. Mm-hmm. So it's not fun to be on the receiving end, but at the same time, when we are doing this work, when we're doing this content, when we're talking about things that people get very, very triggered about, unless they are actively doing shadow work, they're not going to confront it. And you will be the bane of their existence, and they will go off, because this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a lot of unprocessed, unchallenged, unquestioned, unlooked at, I mean, just willfully ignored shadow material. That's why you got to do the shadow work. You have to be in charge of your triggers. Otherwise, you get triggered and then you go off on the likes of somebody like me or Crypt Rick or Mark Passio or whomever. And you start making character assassinations and you start smear campaigning people and you start criticizing their work. And it's like, okay, well, what have you done lately?
That's my reply too. Sometimes it's like, well, show it, like the odd time I would say to somebody, like, okay, well, show me what have you put out? Like, let me check out your work. And then it's usually across the board. They have nothing.
Yeah, no,
it's like they've done no work at all out there. I like to put nothing out, and I'm like,
Yeah, they're not offering solutions.
No.
It's just a criticism. It's a criticism, and it is a character assassination. There's all these accusations, no proof about anything, just a character assassination, and then name calling. I mean, just the names people come up with to call me. I mean, I have a list of some Hall of Famers, man, because I'm like, wow, that's really, really creative.
How did you come up with this? Like,
it's funny. It's just funny to me. But at the same time, there are some very, very nasty chaos black magicians out there who are actually wielding from some very, very dangerous, low vibrational, entity filled wrath spellcasting that gets directed at the likes of me or someone else, and it's not fun to be on the receiving end of that. I mean, that is some serious shit right there.
Well, that's the problem, is that people don't. When I talk to people, they have a hard time thinking that that's what we're up against. I know the people we're speaking with right now get it, most, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But I sometimes worry about being in an echo chamber. I'm like, and I think that happens to people, is that you kind of think that because you're around people that think like you're like, well, everybody thinks like this. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, go out and talk to people, get out of your house, go around. You don't got to go far, go into your neighborhood and start talking to people. And you're going to get a gauge very, very quickly when you start talking about certain things as a conversation. I mean, you don't go right at them with it. You got to get to know them a bit, but you're going to get a good gauge. At least I do. And that's what I worry about in some ways. But you make a great point. Like, it's really, it's so engineered. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, this infighting is so, I see it so clearly. And that's what I was saying in the intro, Mark, is that that's the problem, is that we are all fighting with each other when we should be banding together. And believe me, you may not believe there's this shadow government or whatever you want to call them. I don't pick a name, social engineers, dark magicians.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna argue with what you want to call them, but there is people steering this and controlling this.
Absolutely.
That are very dark, low energy.
Yep.
And that's what people have a hard time believing because, and I'm sure we're going to get into this, but it goes deep.
Yes.
And they know.
They're banking on it. They're
banking
on us to become so upset with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've been in the middle of some things where, it's escalated and I literally have had to sit back, take the hits, have people scream at me and call me every name in the book. And eventually they get so frustrated, they just cut me out of the call or drop the video portion. They just cut me off. They disconnect me. And I'm like going, okay, good riddance. Because, that's part of the thing, is that when there is a divide and conquer event that's happening, one of the ways to allow it to escalate is when the emotions, the reactivity, the triggers start going crazy and people start name calling, they start screaming, they start getting really super upset. And there's no reaching. You can't talk to crazy. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. Thank you, Poe. And, because that's exactly what they want. They want that infighting, because if we are divided and we're not aligned and we're not allied with one another and we're not supporting one another, this is how we lose power. This is how the matrix wins. This is how the powers that want to be and all of the little social engineers, this is how they gain power. This is how they have the upper hand. And there's way too many people who just want to start shit. That's their purpose. They want to be the instigator. They want to start shit. There's a few people right now on Facebook who are specifically targeting creators on One Great Work Network and just going to town. First of all, I see any inklings of that shit, you're blocked. I don't care. I don't need you. I don't need that energy. And unfortunately, there are too many people in network who are willing to kowtow to that. They're willing to keep that slice going. I don't know whether because they get off on it or whether because they're just ignorant and they don't realize the kind of damage that can get created with that kind of nasty energy. I don't know, but I'm finding that I wish more of the folks within the network would stand up to it and call it out. But a lot of them aren't. They're not calling it out. They're wanting to keep a low profile and not get involved. But look, you are involved, okay? You're doing this kind of work. There are consequences to doing this kind of work. And I always recommend folks who really have a calling to do this kind of work that you stop speaking to echo chambers, because that is what it's going to take. And I see way too many people within network who just market to themselves and they just talk to each other, get that agreement echo chamber going. And I'm sorry, that is not a way to spread truth, and that is not what I do. I put myself in a lot of different situations, a lot of very unfriendly territory, a lot of unfriendly audiences who want to either boo me or throw stuff at me or call me names. But this is how you do it. You do not speak to an echo chamber of agreement. Okay. You have to, grow a pair basically and put your ass out there and risk offending a lot of people with what you got to say. But then, the rewards are really when you connect to that even one person who is gonna get lit by what you have to say and will change their lives. Okay. And this has always been my goal. This has always been my sort of scene. And it's a muscle that you have to develop because nobody wants to get booed. Nobody wants to have stuff thrown at you. Nobody wants to hear people screaming at you to, drop dead or whatever. Nobody wants to be threatened. But this is where it's at, kids, and it's definitely not for the squeamish. It's not for the faint of heart. But the good news is that the more of us that can be in alignment where we can support one another, even if you don't agree with every little bit.
Exactly.
I don't agree with every little bit Mark Passio says, no. And I don't blame him for having his really in-your-face delivery. I get it. I get that frustration. And I don't blame him for being frustrated because people are complacent. They want to ignore stuff. You don't want everybody to be nice. It's like the truth movement is failing. It's failing miserably because people like the title, but they don't want to live it down. They don't want to face the consequences of what it means and what it means for you to live truth. what it means for you to live truth, so much so that you are really, really adamant about doing the shadow work so that you can keep yourself in check, where you can keep your mind in check and know when you're being mind controlled. Because if you don't even know you're being mind controlled and you're biting the bait of all this trolling and this infighting and this he said, she said, they said, we said, and all that nonsense of putting down your colleagues because, you know, you haven't quite worked out what it is that you're doing with your content, you know, grow up. And I know I'm repeating myself, but it's like
it has to be said, Marja.
Yeah.
I agree with you, and I like the way that you said that you don't always have to agree. That's important.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with, and like I always tell people, you don't have to listen to me. I mean, I hope it's my goal, and I hope I achieve it at some level. That at least the topics I bring up and the discussions I have will spark somebody to maybe go and investigate things on their own, and maybe have a little curiosity and start doing some work on themselves. I hope that someday I reach that, and if I can, like you said, if I reach one person and it changes their life, I'm good with that. It's one person. I'm happy with that. I just hope I get people thinking. And so yeah, you know, I don't. There's many people I listen to. I don't believe everything they say. I don't agree with everything they say, but that doesn't mean throw everything they say out.
Yeah.
You have that's
the bath one.
yeah, that's the trivium. Yeah, you have to. People don't know how to think. That's the thing. And I had a great. I wish I would have wrote it down, but I was thinking about our conversation for tonight, and I was like, I was thinking, what if the social engineers? I was trying to boil it down. I like to boil things down simple because I think that's where people need to start is simple. And me too. I mean, I'm not one of these elegant speakers. I think that can really break down things and have a great. I think there's people that do it way better than me. I kind of like having a conversation, and that's how I learn, and I hope that some people enjoy that too. But when I was trying to think of what the social engineers have hacked, and I thought of the Trivium. And the social engineers, they take this is the way I kind of thought of it in my mind, and I was in my garden, and I was in a place that was just really zen or peaceful. I don't know what you want to call it, but I was just really in tune. And I was like, what are they attacking? And I said, I was saying to myself, the social engineers, they take anything beautiful and they have to destroy it and invert it and twist it. And I said, they've done that to the Trivium way of thinking. People don't know how to think properly. And I know and then what have they done? They've inverted the Trivium. Like people don't take in the information first, they don't process it, and then when they process it, then they put it back out. People, like you said, are very, very in their feelings and reactive.
Yeah.
So they've hacked the Trivium, or they've twisted it. They've done something. That's where my thought was today.
Yeah, and that is actually very, very true. And so, and then when you have people who don't want to learn how to think properly, in fact, they don't want to think. And this is where AI really just kind of sets the pace. When you have the likes of Gemini and Chat GPT and, all of the automated upchucking of what these things are defined to be. It doesn't even require you. You don't even have to, you don't even have to know what you want to ask about. You can just get a rundown. You could get a summary of what the Trivium is. And for a lot of people, that's good enough, and they think they know it. And that stuff freaks me the F out. Because what it's doing is that it is condensing information into these sort of renderings by AI, and it just becomes automated. And people are not even, they're not even swirling it around to contemplate what just got spat out by AI in terms of a definition or a summary. And this is not the way to learn, kids. It's not.
I think AI I'm terrified of it. I really am.
Yes.
And I just am. I've had people try to give me these arguments. I won't mess with it. I'm one of those creators. I will not. I haven't even engaged, and that God is my witness. I have never engaged with an AI program And even once, I just have a really dark feeling about it. And other people have, that's fine. I do what you do you. I don't want any part of it. And I've talked to people and they get really, once they start using it, they get really excited. You know, like, oh my God, it'll help me write music. It'll write songs. It'll write lyrics.
Oh,
and I'm like, and I'm just like, you're missing the whole point of creative expression. Like humanity likes to create. They want to create beauty. People are attracted to beauty.
Yes.
And God, I never can word things the way that I want, that I feel. But that's like as an artist.
You have to excavate it. Wouldn't you agree, Rick? That, but if you are writing a piece of music, I mean, just the whole notion of asking ChatGPT to write a song, I'm just appalled by that.
Me too.
Like, stop it. Stop it, kids. And, we're just getting mentally retarded. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend people, and I mean no offense by that, but I am like, I'm just appalled by the laziness that I'm witnessing in humanity. You just can't be bothered. You can't be bothered to look it up, And
That's scary.
I appreciate my technology, but my technology also has a time and a place.
100%. Yep.
And you have to exact that time and place. You have to set a boundary, as far as I'm concerned, with technology. Otherwise, it will overrun you. I know that my partner and I, he has conversations with Siri and Alexa, and I just. And I make a joke and I go, you talk to those cyber biatches more than you talk to me. And I mean, it's not true, but at the same time, that little chit-chatty kind of thing, and it's so interesting. And there was one time I parked my car at this trailhead, and here's a guy, I'm thinking he's having a fight with his girlfriend. No, he's having a fight with Siri. About how she kind of yanked his chain all over Hell's Half Acre trying to find the trailhead, and I guess whatever, he's asking for directions, and I'm thinking, wow, okay, this is super disturbing to me, because we're losing our humanity, we're losing our consciousness. This troll stuff, the divide and conquer, this is a war. It's spiritual warfare for our consciousness, kids. And if you can't see that, I think a lot of humans are just that much closer to becoming a full-on NPC.
I agree with you. Have you ever seen that movie, Her?
Yes.
I remember when I watched that years ago, and I was like, wow, if they can make it that real, people will do it. That scares me. Like if you ever see the movie, people look up the movie Her, and basically what it is, I don't want to give a big spoiler word, but there's like you get an app for your phone, and it's AI, and it's like you can have a woman or a man or whatever, and you start talking and then dating, and people were getting married to this, and I was just like, this is where we're going.
Yeah,
this is absolutely where humanity is going, 100%, and people will do it. They're doing it. I'm sure they got something similar to this.
Yeah. And I have no interest in being part of the singularity where, all of a sudden we don't have bodies anymore. Okay. And our minds are being uploaded onto some freaking cloud, and we're almost there, kids. I hate to say it. So I know that before we got on the air, we were talking about, on your dying, your deathbed, what are you going to be thinking? I know what I'm going to be thinking of. I'm looking for the holes out of the matrix. Okay, because I'm not signing up again. I'm not signing up for another incarnation. First of all, I don't believe in it, and I'm not gonna get regurgitated. And people think I'm insane when I say stuff like that. But that's what I'm all about. And for people who want to know what I'm talking about, go find Wes Penra's books, Orion 1 and 2, and you're going to know what I'm talking about, because that is what I'm talking about. And I've always been kind of, sort of alluding to that in my own little way, because it is disturbing for people. People don't, what do you mean? The reincarnation trap, you know. Well, this is what I'm talking about, the spiritual warfare for your consciousness and getting on autopilot, okay? I'm just going to sign up again, you know. Let's go to the, you know, in between live center and re-up, shall we? No, that's why you do the shadow work. The buck stops with you, okay? And yeah, I'm kind of going off a little bit.
No, but that's really interesting too, because I don't want to sign up again either. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't need another round. You know, I'm done with this place.
And that's the thing. And that was one of the things that Mark was talking about, not this past show, but the last Sunday, the Sunday before. Just, he's good. Everything that he set out to do, he's done. And in many ways, actually, that's absolutely true for me. I'm just like, you know, and that's, I've been contemplating that because I'm thinking, you know, how much more of this can I do? You know, I'm trying to find people where I can hand over my torch because I'm tired. I'm a tired girl. You know, yeah. I like to enjoy the rest of my life and not really get all bent out of shape and twisted up in my panties, you know, over this whole war for our consciousness bit where I just feel thwarted a lot of times because people are willfully ignorant. They don't want to face it. You know, they just want to party. You know, it's like, okay,
endless distraction, yep, endless distractions, which the Matrix will provide very willingly. Yep, they got them. Yep, and I get what you're saying. I get people's anger. I get why people like you and Mark and other people get angry because you're putting the work in, and then you're doing the work on yourself, which I've heard you say too, that shadow work is the most important. That's something that people need to realize. You have to get right with yourself. That's the foundation you need. Yeah. So I can't imagine doing it for 40 years or 20 years or 10 years, and you're trying your best to educate people. They're not only not accepting it or even contemplating it or thinking about it, they're attacking you. And then, you know, it's getting worse. Humanity is getting worse.
And I just want to throw in the towel because, you know, I do a lot of work with folks who are wanting to get beyond the shadow work. And there is a beyond the shadow work. And that beyond the shadow work is really applying what is it you have learned about thinking properly and applying the principles so that you change the nature of your reality. And, you know, that's one of the things that I love about you, Rick, because you have made Mondays an awesome day for you. Mondays are an awesome day for me. And that is through proper thinking and the application of the principles. The first principle, the principle of mentalism, and then the second one, correspondence. It's my favorite one. As above, so below. From within, so without. Whatever's going on out there that you don't like, you don't get your mind in order. Okay? All that, guess what? All the things you see outside yourself, you know who the common denominator is? You.
And people don't like to hear that.
Oh, no, they don't like to hear that. She's yelling at us. She's talking down to us. We know this already. Oh, well, if you know this already, what's wrong with you? Okay? So, you know, I get that. I mean, people just want to, like, talk back. It's like, okay, I'm going to challenge you. You know this already? Then what's up?
Yeah, that's so true. Like, this is such an important, I love our discussions because we hit on so many important things. And sometimes I think and I'm sure you get this too, you get to the point where you're like, God, I'm really repeating myself. Yes. But you have to, because you can't, it's not a one and done. And it wasn't one and done for me either. So don't think I'm attacking people. I'm not any.
For me either.
Yeah, it took a lot of endless hours of being like interviews and talking and reading and to get it through my head too. It wasn't like I just heard one podcast and went, I got it all figured out. No.
You don't get it from one podcast. You don't get it from a book. You get it from living it and facing yourself facing all those little ugly, crunchy morselettes that you don't want to look at, that you want to get high so you can avoid it, or you want to get drunk, or you want to,
Cover it with sex. That's a big one.
Exactly.
That's a huge one. So yeah, that's so true. That's the part that people really fear, and I get it. I mean, because you really are exploring things that are dark in you. We all have them. We all have some type of trauma. I always tell people, like, whether or not you're even aware of it, it's there. And definitely triggers. Triggers is a big one for me. If I get triggered by something, I immediately now will stop myself and then go, whoa, like why did that trigger? Like, I'm always asking myself this now, why? Like, why is that bothering me? Like, and then it's something really not important. When you dissect it, but I reacted, then that's how I know I'm under mind control at that time.
Yes. And that is super critical, to be able to, at any given moment, have enough self-awareness to know the difference when you are in your power, and know the difference when you're being yanked by a trigger and you think someone else is doing it to you. That is consciousness. That is retrieving your consciousness from the slave masters. That is what it is.
I agree.
Because when we're triggered and we are out of control and we can't get beyond it, guess what? The Matrix has you. The Matrix owns your ass, owns your thoughts, owns your realities, and you're handcuffed to them.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking at the timer. I can't believe 1 hour. We did it again. I know it rolls by, and but like I said, stick around, everybody, for hour 2. You know the drill here, guys. We'll have a short little break, 3-4 minutes, and then we'll be back for hour 2. We have my amazing guest, Marja West. Her channel on YouTube, Love, Truth, and Beauty. Please, guys, go check it out. She puts out great content, and you're going to learn a lot. And I hope you guys do go show some love over there. And we will be back. I promise we will be back in just a few minutes. I'm just waiting for that music to come in, and then we will wait for hour 2, because I'm looking forward to. I know we're going to be getting into some more important things, and I think this is a conversation that needs to happen, because the infighting and the freedom movement, it's a shit show, guys. So we'll be back. Marja West, hour 2 coming up at just a few minutes from now.
Listen to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back.
The Family Industrial Complex podcast here on Revolution Radio, Studio B, every Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Get fit, empowered, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this important broad-based announcement. Now is the time to explore your greatest potential, embracing truth, health, and wellness while distorting the system and exposing its corruption. Experience true freedom every Saturday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live from Studio B, it's the Jonathan Wright Show. Find it right here at revolution.radio.
I will defend myself against their tyranny. Number 3 is my radio broadcast. I'm squarely in front of the public all the time, and they all know what's going on.
Well, we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on puppet means of expanding its sphere of influence.
Hello, my name is John Wayne, and I do a broadcast here at freedomslips.com, revolution.radio, called The Unequivocal Truth, DEFCON 1. And folks, I assure you, we are in defense condition 1 as we journey perilously through this paradigm that we currently reside in. And I ask that you join me every Saturday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for The Unequivocal Truth, DEFCON 1.
The original machine had a base plate of prefabulated annuli, surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing, in such a way that the two spurting bearings were in a direct line with a panometric fan. The lineup consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic Marsal vanes, so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft that side fumbling was effectively prevented. The main winding was of the normal Lotus-O deltoid type placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator, every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible tremie pipe to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the gram meters.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio, taking the confusion out of transmutated lunar girdle springs for 4 years and running. Revolution Radio, the #1 listener-supported alternative media radio on the planet. All right, thanks so much. Everyone, we'll take that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And yeah, we're going to get back to your host.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, as promised. I told you I'd be right back, and here we are rolling into another hour. And like I always keep saying, hours fly by here, and it just seems that we get into the great conversation at the end of hour 2, which is usually why I got to make a part 2. So that's why I love bringing my current guest. I bring her back every couple months because we have great conversations. Don't forget, Cat Waters is also from the One Great Work Network. She's got a show here, but you guys know that. Please check it out. She's doing amazing work, but so are the other hosts here at Revolution Radio. There are so many incredible hosts here covering with such a wide variety of topics. And I just am so proud to be here and know so many of the hosts, because this is what needs to be done. This is the work, especially now, that needs to be done, guys. I keep saying it, and I know I sound like a broken record a lot of the times, but we're really at a tipping point, I believe, and it can really go either way. And I keep saying, we're up against this multi-headed hydra that is so well established. The system for them, the B system, whatever you want to call it, is working perfect for them. And they got humanity what they want. And I keep trying to tell people, you have no idea what we're up against. They know the human mind. They've studied it, and they know it better than you know yourself. And they know what triggers you. They know what steers you. They know how to control you. And yes, it is that dark. And I've had somebody say, are you saying that we've been lied to from day one? Maybe so. It seems to be that way. The more you dig into it, and it sounds really harsh when I say that, but it's the truth. It really does seem that they have been steered. Like, the more, it's so crazy, the more, and I'm sure a lot of people that are listening know what I mean. The more you start learning and digging and really diving into things, you start to, there's this nice layer of grass at the top. That's my vision that they present on the top. And then you start digging underneath it, and it's just this rot. Like, that's what you find. And then it gets deeper and deeper, and it's just like, wow, they've really nothing left to chance. I keep saying that. They cover their bases. They're into everything: medical, schooling, health, like education, like name it. They're in it. Government, religion, all of it. They're steering us. They got us where they want us. And it's just really, that's what we're up against. And we're so busy, as me and Marja are speaking about, fighting with ourselves. That's what we're doing. They're on the same page. They have the same agenda, the same goal. They know us better than we know ourselves, and they are very, very dark, and they do not have any love for us. And so, yeah, we're enslaved by them, and this is what we're up against, and we're arguing with each other. So, Marja, I mean, this is the topic that needs to happen.
Absolutely. Yes, it does. And I know one of the things that comes up a lot, especially when I have people in my face, is the whole thing about, well, if you change your delivery style, and you know what? I'll tell you what, in my Texas accent, I will change my delivery style, and I have, because, that's the thing, is that we have a choice. Now, a lot of the content creators, they don't want to do that. And that is your prerogative. I didn't do it for a very long time. And then I started expanding. I started expanding and speaking to tech companies, speaking to women's groups, speaking at universities, speaking at this, that, and the other thing, these events, new age events, truth and freedom events, ufology events, okay? And guess what? You got to know your audience, okay? And I know a lot of content creators are going to dig in their heels and go, yeah, F that, I'm not going to do it. And I was in that camp. But the thing is that you have to play the role, because that's exactly what it is. You're playing a role. I'm not calling it, it's not a LARP, you know, because this is your life's work if you're in it the way I'm in it. But you have to be very, very careful how you present yourself, because if you want to make an impact, you have to be professional. You can't be some, you know, for lack of a better way to put it, you can't be all that ghetto in a corporate setting. You're going to lose people. They're not going to take you seriously. And if every other word is the F-bomb, they're not going to take you seriously. And especially if you're up against very well-educated types who are articulate and very, very smart and have their game on. So I've had to learn how to do this. And one of the things that I learned how to do through Toastmasters is how to speak in front of a crowd of different people, you know, because I think that's where a lot of our colleagues get stuck. You know, we're just going to speak to friendlies. But, you know, that's going to be boring, because you know what? You're going to find yourself unable to like pay for certain things, because you are not going to generate any interest if you're speaking to an echo chamber. So I've learned how to gauge an audience. I've learned how to, if I'm speaking to a certain organization, then I prepare. And how do you prepare? You figure out who it is that you're talking to. You research them. You see what it is that they're up to, what kind of events, what kind of people come and see them, okay? Because this is part of it. This is part of doing the shadow work, is uncovering who these people are that you are speaking to. Who are these organizations? What are they all about? Are they really all about freedom? You know, or is it a setup? Is it a setup for you to fail? And to dress appropriately. People who know me, I am a bougie couture biatch from hell. I like heels, I like couture, I love makeup. I have false eyelashes, and sometimes I wear them a lot, and sometimes I don't wear them. Okay, I can also show up in combat boots and fatigues. So it really depends who I'm speaking to, and you got to learn how to navigate that. I know that sounds irritating for a lot of people. F that, I'm not going to do. Well, then don't do it. But, you know, I did not get to where I'm at speaking to only one group of people, okay? And to learn how to navigate the globe. I've been to over 110 countries. I've spoken at a lot of these countries. And, you know, a lot of these countries don't speak English. So there's that whole thing of, you know, who's translating for you and what are they actually seeing? So there's a lot of different things that you have to consider when delivery becomes an issue, okay? You're going to have to tone it down. And if you don't want to, then get out of this thing, okay? Because if you think you're only going to speak to an echo chamber, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not. Okay, the whole thing is to spread truth. You don't spread truth to the same people who've heard it a million times. They don't care. Okay, your friends, your colleagues are not really going to care. They are not your audience. They can be supporters, but at the end of the day, whatever flavor of truth that you are putting out there, whatever content, you have your own audience. And I suggest you grow up, grow a pair, and figure out, find those people. And you're not going to find them hiding, Okay. And, and here's the thing about technology too, with the AI, we're being surveilled, kids. And if you think that you're not, that when you get on social media, that they're not gauging, the technology isn't gauging how you feel, what you're freaking out about, what you're talking about, what you're about to talk about, what you're thinking about, what you're lusting after, the products that you pretend you're like scrolling over, okay? They're gauging this stuff, okay? So a lot of times AI, powers that want to be, they know you before you even know what you're up to. They know what you're going to do.
Right.
And so just bear that in mind. And, maybe you do have to change your delivery, and I'm not saying that you have to. I'm just saying consider it. Especially if you want to grow your audience, you want to have a bigger impact rather than speaking to the choir, a lot of the choir doesn't even talk to me, because I'm that offensive to a lot of people. And, whatever, I don't really care. I talk about a lot of different things. I don't just talk about one topic. I talk about all sorts of stuff. And, the people that I gravitate toward, like Crypt Rick, our beautiful host, Rick talks about all kinds of stuff. He's not a one track creator. No. The curiosity and the willingness to explore topics, the willingness to do a deep dive in something really, really super disturbing. I mean, these are all qualities that we need to capitalize on. And I suggest that we hone in on those qualities and develop that more rather than having to defend ourselves, rather than succumbing to the troll bait, because
I've always been curious and had this curiosity for truth and stuff. So I'm always really looking for truth. That's what I've always been wondering about, and that's what I'm always like, wow, I want to know more. Then and I guess that could be a curse. I used to look at it like, God, it's endless, but I just have this drive I want to know what they're doing to us.
Yeah.
Like and then that is, you get, when you start getting the answer what they're doing to us, you watch what you ask for, because then you realize what we're up against. And that's why I try to tell people that you really, it's disturbing, and that's what they're accomplishing what they want, from what I can see. And I want to easily, and I keep telling people, I want to build on what you said, Marja, about you might have to change your approach. And I said this in the last One Great Work Warrior presentation that we did, is that you have to pick your path and what you're good at. I mean, you don't have to, we don't have to be the same. I keep saying, everybody's got something they're good at. Yes. Whether you believe it or not, there's something you excel at, and you can get the truth out there in your unique way.
Yes.
I mean, not everybody has to be. Yeah.
I love that.
I do too. That's beautiful to me.
Yes, and I think that's what makes One Great Work Network just fabulous, because we don't all talk about the same stuff. And Cat Waters, you mentioned Cat Waters. Cat is awesome.
Yeah, I love her.
Her approach, what she focuses in on, that is her. That's totally unique to her. And what I do is unique to me, and that's what it is. We need to put out our gifts. And so, when I come upon these trolls who just want to tear down a brother or a sister, it really makes me very, very upset, because I know that what's being done is socially engineered such that this person knows exactly what he's doing this. Okay? Believe you me, this is not some kind of like random thing. It's never random. It is targeted. And that's the thing about these trolls. That's the thing about the infighting. It is specifically meant to create a divide, to create upheaval, to diminish the focus on the actual issues, and create stupid drama.
Yeah. And
And
it's endless.
fall for it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
endless too. The fighting is endless. That's the thing too. And then that's what that's what's so important. And I hope people are taking this conversation in the way that we're intending it. It's not attacking or anything. It's a truthful conversation of how the situation is. And I see it. I go into chat rooms once in a while. I try to stay out of them, believe me, because, and especially Facebook and stuff like that. It's a shit show.
Yeah.
And it is. It's just people attacking everything. And then, like you said, it degrades to attacking your looks or something. If you get, God forbid, you get one thing wrong, then it's like everything else you said is wrong. It's like, no, I'm not perfect. And if I say something wrong, and believe me, if I find out, I will correct myself. I have no problem being wrong and saying I was wrong and I found out different. That's good. Right. But that's the thing, is that people are so busy going at each other. And it's like, wow, like we really got to get on the same page and fight for, like, we're up against the ropes. And Maria, it boggles me that people can't see this.
Yeah.
To me, it's so clear.
The
Wow.
slandering shit show that I witnessed from certain people, they are unkind, they're vicious, and they have no leg to stand on. And for myself, they're just outing themselves to me. They're outing themselves in terms of being a poseur for truth, a poseur for unity, a poseur for up-leveling humanity. No, you're not. You're absolutely doing the opposite thing. And we see it. And so for myself, the moment I see it, you're gone. Goodbye. I just,
That's what you have to do. Yeah.
It's toxic. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs it. Nobody needs to be feeding that demon. And that's what it is. The infighting. I tell people, it's like, dude, step back, because if you feel that energy, that whirling around energy, that sort of, hyper intense, wanting to fight for the right to be righteous, all that kind of stuff, that energy, that is not us. Those are the demons. Okay, those are the demons whirling it around, slapping us around with it. And you have to step back. You got to step back and check yourself. Receive a deep breath and stop talking.
Yeah.
Okay?
And listen.
Slap it on the keyboard.
Yeah, and that's why, and it's a great thing, and something to add on to what you're saying, Marie, because I think it's really cool because we're breaking down, like, like you were saying, like, you might have to change your approach. You want to get out of an echo chamber and engage with people. I prefer face to face if I can. Yeah. And I have no problem even talking to somebody. I always say good exercise. And I have a few friends that I'm very blessed to be around that will do this for me. Like, this just happens naturally, but they don't necessarily agree with everything I'm saying, and they challenge me. Mm-hmm. And that is where I say that's where you test your mettle. Because it's easy to sit there and just say all the right words in an echo chamber, and everybody's like, hey, he's doing great. You go against find somebody that is opposite of what you think, and then have a debate, and then try not to get mad and it turn into, like you were saying on social media, where you're calling each other names or yelling and then storming away. Have a civil, respectful conversation and listen to what they're saying. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to buy what they're saying. But can you listen to their point? And then, like, I should have been on debate team. I never did that in high school. I should have, because I would love that. I would love that. I try to see both sides. It's hard at times, but I love that dynamic. I think that's where real learning can happen and understanding.
Yeah, and to be able to remain composed,
exactly,
and anchored, centered, and not off your rocker. And that's the whole thing. People just get ignited and they're insane. They can't hold a conversation. It just degenerates into this madness of name calling. And it's just, ugh.
Oh, it's instant. A lot of times it's quick. Like, and then and sometimes I even find myself saying that. I'm like, whoa, we're just having a discussion. Like, I'm not angry. I just want to talk, but as soon as you go, and it's a little depressing when you get like that. It's like, when people get like that, it's like, wow, can we not just talk and I want to hear your point, but hear mine, but so many people I find it want to be right,
Yes.
and it's like wow, like really,
Yeah.
you're like, do you even know what you're defending? Like you've drawn this really rigid line in the sand. Are you sure? You're not willing to back up a little, or maybe take a little more information in, but a lot of people don't. They want to be right. They draw the line in the sand, and this is where we are.
Yeah, and they want to go off. They just want to do that sort of emotional, energetic upshock of just whoop. And it's very disconcerting, and it's not helpful. I mean, it really isn't. And you're just outing yourself to be, as Mark would say, kind of a moron. Pardon my French. And it's sad when it goes there because there's no discussion, none whatsoever. And the issue gets occulted again. It gets pushed over. It pushed over to the far side of things. It gets shoved under the carpet. People get thrown under the bus. And I think that's been one of the most disturbing things that I've witnessed on the Facebook with the infighting is when somebody that you are aligned with is getting attacked, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of it, and if you don't agree with the attacker, all right, you might as well being the person attacked. And it's like, what? And I have seen that. I've been in the middle of that so many times where I'm going, come on, people, really? This is not happening. And it's just, it's so immature and juvenile. It's like so many people get caught up in their triggers and they're completely infantilized to the point where there's just no reasoning, and they get their little posse of agreement whores and they just go to town. And before you know it, everybody is crazy. Everybody is gossiping about, and everything is about hearsay. Hearsay. And it is just, it's not helpful, kids. Really isn't.
I tell people you gotta unplug. Like, I mean, to me, that's so important. And I definitely want to kind of dive in now with you because I think the content you create, and that's how I found your work. I'm so blessed I did, is because I keep saying, like, I don't, at this point, I can't see us tearing down this system and getting to where we want very quickly, because let's be honest, I see where humanity's at, and I'm just like, we're so far away from that. You have to navigate this world, and it helps when you're aware. For me, and I can only speak for myself, it helps when you're aware that the social engineers are out there. Everything you're taking in, I would say consuming, whether it's music or TV or social media, whatever it is, whatever you're taking in, be very, very aware. If it's coming from anything in the higher up system, it's being engineered towards you. And I went through which is really interesting, Marja, that I said this to my drum teacher. I said it to my last guest, Mike, when we were talking about the Beatles. I said, when you realize how deep even the social engineering in our music goes, and how it's been from such way back, for me, for a while, music kind of lost its luster. Like, I was like, wow, like, Jesus, everything I'm listening to is a mind control. But what the power for me is realizing, when you realize it, it loses its power. Does that make sense?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the matrix is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We're not going to dismantle it. And the only way to navigate it, kids, and I want everybody to listen up. The only way to navigate it is to be in charge of your mind. You have to know how to think properly. And you got to know what your thoughts are versus what is being broadcast to you by the powers that want to be, through media, through echo chambers, through whatever. Okay, because they're going to push those buttons of feeling disenfranchised, feeling like you don't belong. And they're gonna dangle in front of your face, okay, all the good bits of belonging to a community. And they know exactly what they are doing. You have to know how to think for yourself. Okay, you got to be in charge of your thoughts. You got to be able to be in charge of your attention. Who owns your attention? Do you or does the Matrix? Because if the Matrix owns your attention, you're mind controlled. That's the end of it. Okay? You're not in charge of your reality. And when we get hyped up into a lather because of a triggered situation, I assure you, you are being mind controlled. You are not in charge of your reality. The Matrix is creating your reality. And when it becomes a reality that is filled en masse with people just like you, all bent out of shape, or all upset because of whatever is happening with Donald Trump right now. Oh my God. Okay, check yourself.
I know people that just, I know people that are so deep into this whole election, and I'm just like,
Oh my
okay,
God.
I'm like, I can't.
Let's
Yeah.
eye roll. All together now, everybody, eye roll. Oh, stop. You know, and I did something that was, and it was an experiment. So I was on, I had to do a post, and so I'm on Facebook, and I purposefully said, I wonder what Donald Trump is doing, right? Oh my God. And I had my phone, and I realized, oh shit, I did not put it on airplane mode. So it heard. Next thing I know, I kid you not, I am getting text messages about what's going on with him. And I had no idea he was doing a trial. I didn't know what was going on. But, you know, it was just kind of a generic question. What's happening with Donald Trump? And I started getting these text messages to donate to his cause. And I'm like, wow, that is insane. And no sooner did I complete that thought, I started getting stuff about Joe Biden. I don't give two shits about those two clowns. I mean, it's a clown world. And all of a sudden, you know, I'm getting inundated, you know, so here I am, I'm deleting and I'm declaring it as junk mail and spam. And here it is, it's day 3. I'm still getting them. So, just so
Over
you know,
one sentence.
yeah, airplane mode, really, really important, you know, especially if you're on a computer on some app and then you've got your iPhone or your smartphone or whatever. Yeah, turn it off. Turn it off.
That's a good experiment though.
Yeah.
That's a good experiment because that's a good experiment because it shows you how quickly the Matrix is locked onto you.
Yeah.
And then how quickly you can buy into it. What if you started reading all of the stuff you were getting?
Exactly.
Then you're in.
It's a joke, right?
Yep. Wow.
It was a joke. Oh my goodness. So these are the things that we have to be aware of. Who owns your attention? You have to own your attention, kids. This is not about dismantling the Matrix. Okay. This is about you untangling your mind from the clutches of the Matrix. That's it. End of story. And if you can do that, if you can hold your attention, you get to walk in and out of it, regardless of whatever shit show they got going on, trying to distract you. And I always say, step away from the vehicle, move along, nothing to see here. And it's so easy. I mean, I find myself, I have certain things that, you know, if I see it, it's like, oh boy, I'm down for a few minutes.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yep.
And then I catch myself. It's like, oh my God, I just fell asleep again. You catch yourself snoozing and scrolling. That's what I call it.
Yeah, I had a friend tell me that too a couple days ago. He was like, oh my God, like I get up in the morning and I go on Facebook. I just want to check a few things. It's 2 hours later.
Oh,
and he's still on the couch and he's still scrolling. And he's like, that's bad. Like, but he's aware
really
now.
bad. 2 hours?
Yeah,
Holy
but he's aware of it. Like, he's like, that's got to stop. Like this is not, but it shows you how quickly, and he's really, really a smart guy. Like he knows so much. Like I want to get him on the show, but he's one of these people, sure you ran into them, that they know so much, but they say, I don't know enough. I don't know enough to go on the radio. I'm like, oh my God, dude, you know so much. You could help so many people. Like get on and talk. But I'm trying. But that at least he's aware, you know.
Yeah. And we need more people like
We
that.
do. God, so bad.
And that's what it takes, kids. It's going to take each and every one of us, you know, and it is an inside job. If you can control your thoughts, control your emotions, you know, be able to navigate what gets thrown at you. Know the difference when you are triggered and you're going down. Know that you have a set of tools that you can immediately engage in real time and pull your head out of your booty. Okay, if you can do that, you know, that my hat is off to you, because you are helping humanity by being one less NPC. Because that's where a lot of people are going. I mean, people are literally walking by you and you don't even register because they're not even registered anymore. You know, they joined the cloud above and their consciousness is there. They're just going through the motions. And we've all seen people like that. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Definitely. I've seen people, I keep saying, I've said this many times on here, that I'll go into like the coffee shop because I like to people watch just to kind of get a feel what's going on. And you'll see people at a table, like 3 or 4 people, and they're not talking, they're texting each other.
I know.
And I'm sitting there scratching my head. I'm like, oh my God, what am I looking at? And then they'll text and giggle each other, like, oh, stop saying that. And I'm like, you can't talk? I don't get it, man. I don't understand the world, Maria. I do, but I'm like, how did we get here?
Well, and we got here through some really, I think, bad parenting. That's how we got here. You know, we just bypassed relationships for the sake of convenience. Whether it's convenient food, let's put the kids in front of the TV and we're just gonna go off. You know, let's have drinks. You know, and that's what we've done.
And that's a tough pill for parents to hear. Yeah. That's it. I've had Will Keller on and a few other people, and we get into conscious parenting a lot. And it's a rough one. I get it. I mean, what parent wants to hear that they're the problem?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, none of them. And that's the truth though. And then you can tell, because that's, I always say to people, that's what they're attacking, the social engineers. What do? I keep saying they dismantle things that are good. So destroy the family unit, because a strong family is such a strong force. They know that.
Yeah.
So what do? They break the family up. They got the child in school getting indoctrinated. Then, you know, they got the social media where they break up the actual parents. So now you got children being raised in single homes, and it's just, they've really done a good job destroying what's natural and good.
They've done an outstanding job with that. And, you know, I know for myself, because of my trauma, because of my upbringing, I never wanted to pass on that kind of negligence and bad parenting onto anybody else, my stepkids. And so we always had activities. We did things together. We read the Kabbalion together, you know. And I know one of my stepsons, Joshua, was not interested. He just, you know, he figured he was vegan, hardcore vegan, and that was it. That's where it stopped. He didn't want to read any more about any of it. And then one day in junior high, he got his ass kicked. Came home, 2 black eyes, a broken nose, and a very, very bruised ego about, you know, mouthing off to someone who let him know, you know, where the lines were drawn. And that's when you say, okay, I'm ready to read it. And sometimes it's what it takes. It takes a catastrophic event to get you to step back and check yourself and go, okay, well, you know, maybe I need to rethink this one and get some skills. And so I remember that moment. It was very, very poignant. And now he's a dad. He's got kids. The kids my step grandkids, they're old enough, they read the Kabbalion. So, you know, it's like, I feel great about that. That was my influence based on a neighbor gifting me a box filled with amazing books. Now, albeit they smelled like cat pee because the cat marked it. But that being said, you know, I was intrigued. I'm going, what is this? What is this? And this is where we start developing, because when you read those words, you realize, wow, somebody thought this through. You're being handed a tool, a gift that really doesn't cost any money because it's within you. You are that. That is the I am. You know, it's not even I am sovereign, because, you know, when you start breaking down sovereign, you're looking at some kind of monarchy. And I know there you can further it, but well, you know, my inner monarch. Okay, whatever. No. I am. What are you saying I am to? You know, I mean, that's one of my favorite questions when I work with my clients and my students. What are you saying I am to? And that is your focused attention right there. I am part of the shit show. Okay. If you are focused in on whatever shit show is going on in the matrix, I mean, that's what you are I aming. Yeah, not pretty. Don't do it.
That's really interesting. So when you work with people, and you'll say that to them, you'll say like, what are you I aming to? And do they have that aha moment where they're like, oh?
Yes, they do. Because when you break it down to that, I mean, it's just very basic. It's simple. There's nothing convoluted about it. What are you I aming to? And especially, you know, I mean, there are a lot of really awful things going on in the matrix. And we like to vent, and we like to unload that stuff that burdens our minds that are in the forefront. But if you are not cognizant of the kinds of information that you are absorbing, the kinds of environments that you're hanging out in, the kinds of people that are your friends who do nothing but complain and bring you down, or are stoned or drunk or doing crank or, you know, whatever, or just doing general thievery, what are you doing? Like, why are you hanging out with those people? Doesn't sound very uplifting to me. It sounds really toxic. And taking stock of the kinds of relationships that you have. If you're in toxic relationships, you need to do some housekeeping. Clean your room. Jordan B. Peterson says that all the time, clean your room. It's basic. Yeah. Clean up your room. And quite often that means clean up your body. Start detoxing all the things that you are bringing into your reality that are causing you to I am ridiculous toxic things. Because that's your focus.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
No, it just makes sense. Like I always say, like healthy, like, and it sounds like these little cliches and these little phrases that people say. But I always say that they're a thing because there's some truth in them. Like that's why they stick around and stand the test of time. And I always say to myself, at least, and some of my friends, you know, you have to have a healthy body to have a healthy mind. If you're just taking in garbage food, processed food, what do you think that's doing to your mind? Like, do you think your mind's going to be clear and aware? And I know the power of food. This sounds so cheesy, but even before I do my drumming, if I don't eat, for one, I'm not as good. If I eat something really healthy and then I go and give it a little bit of time and go down and drum, it's different. I react different. My mind's clear. And then, because I used to eat horrible food years ago, I'm not any different than anyone else. Like I eat junk food and everything. And to think that, wow, like, you know, it makes sense. Like if you're just eating toxic, and then like you said, you build even further. You're putting in toxic food in your body. You're getting a toxic mind, and then you compact it with toxic people around you.
Yeah.
What do you think that what's manifesting? Like,
exactly. You just get more toxic stuff.
Yeah. It makes
That's
so much.
not so below from within, so without. And so it really is, it's not just an inside job. It's a complete overhaul. when you start cleaning up all your little bits and pieces to get the toxicity of all types out of your life, you have to check every facet of your reality. And, you know, it's not pretty, and it's not a one-off. It's not a one-off event. You're going to be doing this process of discovery and purging and integrating all that. You're going to do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, because that's just kind of how it works. You know, we're not one-off creatures, and we are constantly ever being, ever becoming, ever evolving. And we learn through contrasting experiences. Like for me, I am actually rewriting my book. It's going to be the third volume of the first book. I'm rewriting it because guess what? I started writing it 20 years ago. The first volume was one thing, or the first edition was one thing. The second edition was updated. And guess what? This third edition, I was wrong about so many things. And I'm coming clean on that. You know, I'm not the same person I was when I was 44 and I started writing the book. You know, so here it is. It's 20 years later, 21 years later. And it's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I kind of blew it. But, you know, I didn't blow it then because it was appropriate in 2004. And in 2014, you know, it was appropriate when it came out. And then in 2018, when the second edition came out, it was appropriate. And guess what? Since 2018 up to now, I'm not the same person. There have been some upgrades and discoveries. And I would be remiss, not just remiss, I would be dishonest, let's just go there, if I maintained the narrative that I put out. And, you know, that's just me. It's like, oops, okay. You know, I didn't see that one coming.
That's so cool that you have something to look back. That's why I love journaling. Journaling to me is, I'm so glad that somebody told me about that years and years ago. They're like, even if you just write one paragraph of something that in like once a day, like just keeps track. And boy, when you, and I think that's such a gift that you have these versions to go back and look at, and then look where you were then, look where you are, and then where you're heading. That's really powerful. And a lot of people I don't think have that, because wow, like when I look back at my journals, I have journals from like 30 years ago, more, 35 years ago. And I went back and read some of it, and I'm like, whoa, was I a mess? Oh my God. Like that's when I was at the height of my addictions. I was in a poor me state. I thought, you know, it was just it was a dark place I was at. I just, like I said, I was blaming my disease and letting my disease control me and I'd be my identity. And then I tried to suppress my depression with drinking. And then, so yeah, but I had to, it's such a tube of knowledge to go back and read that and go, wow, like look where I was then, where I am now. It's,
and that's really, really amazing. And what's even amazing about that, and just your story, is that you're not saying the same story. And that can be a danger in journaling. I know that I've worked with people who, they kept all their journals from decades and decades ago, and it is the same effing story, different day.
Stagnation. Oh no.
When they started working with me, what did I have them do? I said, you need to have a burning party, honey. Okay. We need to get a fire pit here, and you drop every one of those babies that have the same story that you keep telling yourself over all these years, and you burn them, and we start anew. And that'll work for some people, because some people, that's what they do. It's the same story, different year. And that's not evolution. Whereas what you shared is that you have this triumphant evolution of moving through all those really challenging, sticky, you know, days where you really just felt utterly challenged and utterly, you know, just demoralized with your situation. And you've been able to rise above and create an amazing life with, your amazing life, you know, so you have an amazing life and you did this.
Thank you. It's true. It was work. That's what I try to tell people. Like, this is work. I
Yeah.
mean, and I still stumble. I always tell people that too. I am no different. Believe me, I got flaws and faults, and I always tell people nobody can be more hard on themselves than I am on me. I can be vicious on myself.
Yeah.
Like vicious. Like, I mean, to the point, it's like people say something to me, I'm like, you got nothing on what I can do to myself. Like, it's nothing. Like,
Yeah.
and that was work. That, like, I always try to tell people, be really mindful of your thoughts. Like, really listen to what you're saying to yourself, because it may shock you
Yeah.
of how negative, and that's part of what we're talking about, this whole social engineering in this matrix. At least in my experience, that's what I see, is that people are in this really beaten down state, and it's definitely by design.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that is what they want. They either want us fighting each other or hating on ourselves.
There you go.
And that's not, you know, that's no way to live, kids. And remember, we're here as grand creators, okay? The powers that want to be, they need us to stay down because they cannot leave the matrix. We can, okay? We can. They need us. And they need us, they need to be able to feed off of us in order to, you know, change their form again and again and again and again and again and again.
Yep.
Right?
You're so right. That's the thing that was really shocking. That was something that was shocking, kind of like as I learned more. And and then it's right in your face when you see it. You're like, wow, they really don't create anything beautiful. Like, it's all this twisted, messed up. I want to say the F word, guys, but I'm restraining. I see, I'm conscious of it. Like, I just want to say effed up world. Like, that's what they do. And I always think about, like, what progress have we really made? And I keep saying to people, the only thing that we've really made big steps on is in tightening our chains, which I call the internet and social media. And yes, it has a good aspect. I mean, we're using it for a good thing right now. I'm not saying it's all bad, but that's the only thing that I see that we've really progressed in. Is this tightening of our chains. And that, I know they sell it as this, we're getting freer. I don't see it that way.
I don't see it that way at all. In fact, we're getting closer and closer and closer to, I think, really succumbing to their intentions. And so, you know, bringing it back around. This is why Mark Passio gets really upset. This is why I get upset. This is why so many others do this work with and it's not about selling hopium or hope. No, it is about freeing someone's mind. One mind at a time, a whole group, a whole gaggle, whatever. I do it in my own way. You do it in yours. Mark does it in his. And we're all here to contribute to that. Free your mind.
That's the trick that they've done on people, Maria. That always fascinates me, is that, you know, back when back in the days of chattel slavery, when you had a chain wrapped around your ankle, you knew you were a slave. Like, you saw the chain, you're like, wow, like, this is not good. Now with this flip they've done is they've enslaved our minds. I said that's exactly what they've done. They've just changed the face of slavery, and people have a hard time with that, but that's what they've done. They've enslaved our minds, and as I was saying, they've hacked the Trivium way of thinking. Trivium is a word I didn't even hear about until a few years ago. It wasn't, I never heard it in school. I never did. The Trivium way of thinking. I learned that through educating myself and reading books and listening to people that knew about it. I didn't know the word for that. Did you learn that in school? I didn't.
I did, actually.
Wow.
But very fortunate, because I learned English it was a private school, so I was very fortunate, and we did touch upon the Trivium.
Interesting.
But at the same time, you know, we were being kind of corralled as young girls, because it was an all-girls school, to be debutantes, to just sort of get enough knowledge, take care of yourself, look the part so that you can marry well.
That's good.
Didn't quite happen for me, but whatever. But nonetheless, there it was. And
That's fascinating. That's
And that-
fascinating.
yeah, and I read the Kabbalion when I was 12. So, but I also knew from a very early age that, wow, we got some like real big problems here. This is not good, because my family, they were mesmerized by the TV. And so my answer to it was to go unplug it. So, because I saw it was very clear to me. Why are they watching this? Like, I don't get it. It's making you feel very unhappy, and you're acting really weird and really mean. I'm just going to unplug it. So,
I'm just picturing you do that.
just innocent,
Yeah.
to the dismay of these people who were absolutely hypnotized, mesmerized by the boob tube. And of course, this is in the 60s, so I saw firsthand the aspects of it, and perhaps an early version of AI for convenience. Once again,
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and it's amazing how people get hypnotized. And you brought this up actually in the first hour, that you've even caught yourself being sucked in. And I'm the same way. It happens to everyone, even if you're aware of it. Now the good point is that when you're aware of it, you catch it quick.
yes,
Like, cause I do that too. Sometimes I'll be like, whoa, like they almost got me again. They almost like I was going in deep in again, and then I pull back out. But it's powerful what we're up against, because it's so honed in. Yeah, and that's what I think people have a hard time with. Oh, all of them.
correct.
Yeah.
Because
And
they're
that's
getting to know you. They're getting to know all about you, kids. All of your little scrolly things, all the things that you research, all the things that you Google or DuckDuckGo. I mean, hello, it's on.
Mhm.
They've got a dossier on all of us. And it
terrifying.
really is up to us, each and every one of us, to decide to one-up them. And you one-up them by learning how to think for yourself and owning your attention, owning your focus.
And doing the work on yourself, key.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah, I mean, and unplugging. I mean, that's what I try. I was saying that earlier. I try to do that now, and I've told people in my life too. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be online as much as I ever was. Not that I ever was on a lot. Like, I'm not one of these people that'll spend hours and hours and hours online. I mean, I just don't. I mean, if I am, I'm usually trying to educate myself. So I'm listening to a podcast or an audio book or a lecture or something like that. At least I'm using it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too. And it kind of brings back full circle what you're saying, like, where's your attention? I love that. Where's your attention going?
Yeah.
That's so key what you say. It really is.
Attention management. That is the awakening process, is having attention management mastery.
That's so powerful.
Yeah. You know what you're up to.
Yeah. And
you know the difference when you're up to no good.
Oh yeah. And I mean, when you're up to no good, I mean, you don't have to, you can lie to yourself, but and it's such a good thing. And I just, please people, I'm going to make sure I leave the link in the chat room, as I said, for Mari's channel. Please go check it out. Love, Truth, and Beauty. It's all one word on YouTube. And I'm sure you're on other platforms, which I'm going to let you plug everything if you want to in the last minute or so, because I really hope people go and check your work out, Maria, because you dive into what we kind of covered today. We kind of, went across a lot of things, but you really dive into each individual thing in multiple ways. It's needed. I love the way that you're very welcome. I learned so much, and I like your fact that I was saying, you talked about the Matrix, and you can't change it, but you can definitely manipulate it.
Yeah, you can mess it up. You can wield it to your liking.
I love that.
And that is, and the main component of that is attention management. That's what it is. That's if you can manage your attention, you know, we put a kink in their works, okay? And more of us being able to do that, yeah, that's cool. You know, there's revolution there.
I agree. Yeah, unplugging like that. And I always tell people get out and I always tell people get out and socialize with people and get in your community. I mean, I always do this right at the last minute. I'm like, let's bring up a really important topic, and then I can't get into it. So we'll have to get you back. I hope you will come back in a couple of months. I want to keep bringing you back, and then we can get into who knows what we'll get into by then. But definitely let people know. I definitely got your YouTube channel covered. Is there anything else you want people to know?
I have a new website, a brand new website that was created and put together, redone by a man who used to manage Alex Jones content.
Oh, wow.
Way back then in the olden days. And the website is beautiful. It is my 23rd iteration since my first version in 1994. And it is my most favorite website ever.
Okay.
And so check it out. It's LoveTruth&Beauty.com. And I got a free class there on the nature of reality and what the hell waking up is, what that is, because a lot of people don't know what that is. And all of my offerings are how you can work with me and you know, my story, etc. And so
awesome. I just brought it up. It looks amazing. I'm going to put that in the chat for everybody. So please go check out her website. It looks amazing. And I can't believe, Maria, the show is already over. I truly do wish. I know. It's like, God, can we have a third hour? And maybe I'll make that happen one day. I'm going to maybe do a third hour because I think I'm getting to that point. But thank you so much for once again joining me. I learned so much. I hope people check out her work, please, guys. And stick around. I've got another great host coming up after this, and I will be back Thursday and, of course, next Mondays. Take care, guys. Have a great week. And see you very soon.
Thanks, love.